We are facing difficult times. Businesses are struggling to cope. Schools are trying to work out a way to keep staff and students safe when they reopen. And everything keeps changing. The guidelines are constantly being updated, which leads to great uncertainty. It means it's almost impossible to plan for the future. And no one knows when the situation will improve. We are definitely facing difficult times. But the Bible gives us good news for difficult times. In Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11, it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." This was also written to people who were facing very difficult times. They had been defeated by their enemies. They had been taken prisoner. They were being forced to live in a foreign land. Things looked very bleak. But God said to them, "I know the plans I have for you." And they didn't know the plans God had for them. But God knew. We don't know the plans God has for us, but He knows. What are those plans? They're plans to prosper you and not to harm you. God promises that things will get better, much better. The word that He uses there for prosper is a very rich word. It's the Hebrew word shalom, which is often translated as peace. But it means much more than just the absence of trouble. It means completeness, soundness, welfare. It's maybe best translated as well-being, wholeness. So God promises that things will get better, much better. But He doesn't promise that they'll get better immediately. He doesn't promise an instant solution. In fact, in this case, He tells the people that it will be 70 years before they get back to their own land. God still promises that things will get better, but He doesn't promise that they'll get better immediately. So we don't know when our situation will improve. We don't know when the coronavirus will be contained. We don't know when a vaccine will be available. So God doesn't promise us that things will get better soon. But He does promise us that things will get better. Much, much better. The suffering and misery will end. There is hope. There will be a brighter future. Ultimately here, God is promising the perfection of heaven to each one of His people. To those who, as the following verses say, call on Him, pray to Him, and seek Him with all their heart. Yes, we are facing difficult times. But if you come to God, if you call on Him to rescue you from your sin, if you turn from it and seek Him with all your heart, God will give you true well-being and wholeness. He will prosper you and not harm you. He will give you hope and a future. That is very good news for difficult times.